What's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of the ynggpodcast. It has been a while. We've been very busy, but we're glad to be back with at least two more videos before the start of the new year, 2025. And today's video is a little bit interesting, something that we haven't spoken about since the first season of the ynggpodcast, which is the Olympics. And in this case, we are talking about a team that's very near and dear to our hearts, and that is Team Italy, the ice hockey team. And there was an article that came out in early December that Italy, the Federation of Italy, are hoping to add NHL talent to their 2026 Olympic roster. So Zach is going to get into it and read the article of what exactly I mean by that. But based off that, after we're done reading the article, we're going to make our own Italy team using NHL talent. And obviously, there's not enough to create a full team using NHL talent, and in particular, the goalie situation, we're probably going to have to look into other leagues such as the KHL, for example. But I think this is a fun concept, and we hope that you guys enjoy it. And make sure to like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and also comment players that maybe we didn't include on this roster for Italy.
Okay, so let's take things off with the article. Obviously, the decision to add NHL players who have Italian ancestors is the big thing, and it hasn't been approved yet by the IIHF Commission. But what we could see through the article here is that obviously Italy is going to be hosting the 2026 Winter Olympic Games. According to Chris Johnston of TSN, the Italian Federation is doing everything in their power to try to improve the roster in their playoff pool. Obviously, as a host nation, they're going to be automatically granted a spot in the tournament. And one way to improve their competitive level is they want to change the naturalization process for players to expand their roster. And so what this basically means is that if I go over here right now, the rule to be eligible for the Italian national team, depending on the IIHF rules, is that a player has to have a passport and has to have lived and played in the country for 2 seasons after the age of 10. And so a lot of the NHL talent, well, most of the NHL talent with Italian descent, haven't played in Italy for 2 seasons, and they've done the process of maybe playing in junior majors in North America, or played in Russia or some other country, and then have progressed to either the NHL or the KHL, and kind of intertwined the two. But now we have what the Italian Federation is pushing for, is to have this new rule where the players would have to solely rely on Italian ancestry, which means an ancestor of theirs would have, let's say, an Italian passport, or some sort of evidence to prove that they have Italian ties to the Italy, the country. So this becomes very interesting, and we just thought, for you guys, it'd be a really cool video to kind of present this fantasy team Italy with NHL players included. A lot of very notable names, and we're trying to consider different aspects as well in the selection process, because we're going to be selecting one by one our roster here from top to bottom, and we want to consider facts like, did the player we're selecting, has he played for another national team before? If he has, we're most likely not to include him in our team. And and even for some players, we don't know 100% if they have Italian ancestry, but I think the funny part in all this is that we just look at their name and we just think, okay, well, this guy's Italian, he's a WAP, right? So so let's get right into this. Chris, I'll let you select player number one. We'll start with skaters, and then towards the end we'll go with the 2 starting goaltenders.
Yeah, so the biggest name, obviously, that everyone's been talking about this season, arguably the most dynamic rookie in the NHL, Macklin Celebrini. That would be the number one pick, hands down. Will he be representing Italy for a long time? No, I think eventually he'll be representing Team Canada, but I think at least for the next couple of years, with the surplus of talent they have on Team Canada, I don't see him making Team Canada anytime soon. It seems like they're trying to find a balanced team in terms of talent, but also in terms of bottom six role players. And that's why you guys
Right.
have
Yeah.
guys like Seth Jarvis and Anthony Cirelli, who are making Team Canada. And honestly, if he did not make Team Canada, Anthony Cirelli, he would be on Team Italy, in my opinion. But our first pick goes to Macklin Celebrini, the first overall pick of the San Jose Sharks this past season.
Yeah, well, obviously, Celebrini's having a great rookie year. He might have some consideration for Team Canada next year for the Olympics, but we're basing it off of the Four Nations roster announced for this coming February, I believe.
Yeah.
And he is not included in that. So you say Celebrini. I'll go with his line mate, who's been his line mate in San Jose, Mister. Right now, we're taking a gamble. I don't know if I know he grew up in Ontario, or no, sorry, he grew up in British Columbia. I don't know what his ties are to Italy, if he has any ancestors, but based on his name, I'm going with Tyler Toffoli as the top winger on the first line with Macklin Celebrini.
Yeah, that's a great pick, and I'm pretty sure with all these guys, they all have Italian ancestry, at some part, in their heritage line. So this based off the last names, I think we're pretty good. I think the next guy that should go next, I know there's obviously people are going to be writing in the comments chat. What about Marco Rossi? What about Zuccarello? Well, they're representing Switzerland already,
Swiss.
so and they're not gonna they're already thin enough that they're not gonna go and leave that team to join Team Italy. They're gonna represent Switzerland, so those two guys are not on this roster, and don't expect Alex Petrangelo to be on this team because he continuously represents Team Canada and he's a pillar on that team, so he's not going to leave a powerhouse of a team. These are basically players that unfortunately don't have a chance. Even though if they're very talented players, at least for the time being. So then I would go with two names here, and this is going to fill out our bottom six. We're going to go with the Foligno brothers. So Mike and Nick Foligno.
Well, actually, Mike Foligno was the father of both of
Marcus. Sorry,
Marcus Foligno, who's been a long time Minnesota Wild, pillar in their kind of their middle six, has been a really good leader for them over the years. So Marcus Foligno, who looks nothing like his brother, is going to be going here. Do you want to put him on the third or on the fourth line, Chris?
I would say the fourth line for now. We'll make adjustments after.
Okay, we'll throw him there on the fourth line. Actually, I want to put him on the fifth line. And Nick Foligno is going to be, I'm assuming, going to be centering that fourth line.
Yeah, with his brother. The same way the Kachucks would play on the same line for Team USA.
Actually, you know what? They have him listed as left wing, right wing. I'm going to put him on the wing for now. But both Foligno brothers will have a chance, hopefully, to cap for Team Italy and get an opportunity to play at the Olympics. So thinking now of more, obviously Italian talent in the league. Obviously, there's young Anthony Fantilli.
Yeah.
Talented, high draft choice for the Columbus Blue Jackets. I don't know why I can't get him here. Here you go.
Right there,
2 L's.
There. Yeah.
There. Okay. So Adam Fantilli, second line center over here. And yeah, so I think Fantilli would be a really nice addition to the team. Super talented, would be a core top six player for the Italian roster for the Olympics, and we're assuming that he wouldn't be getting the nod for Team Canada as well. So I'll give it back to you now.
Yeah, and unfortunately with Fantilli, he was drafted in the top 3 in his respective draft year, but with guys like Marchenko and Voronkov and Monahan, and even Ken Johnson at this point, Fantilli's kind of been forgotten. So I don't see him really making a strong case for Team Canada anytime soon, unfortunately. So I would move away from him for the time being. Just thinking of another. I mean, I have some defensemen in mind right now. I know.
Go for a defenseman.
Okay, so we're gonna go with. I have. Actually, you know what? No, we're gonna go with another forward. And he would be a treat to see on this Italian team. A very scrappy player, Tyler Bertuzzi.
Oh wow.
I would say he
Tyler
plays on the third
Bertuzzi
line. Yeah.
for the Chicago Blackhawks, obviously, who's been playing a lot with Connor Bedard this year. We throw him on the second line there, or would you want to throw him on the top line?
I would say second line for now. I think he's
Yeah,
gonna support Fantilli well.
I think so too. I think so too. And okay, so back to me here. Obviously, Tyler Bertuzzi is, he's had an interesting career. Obviously, drafted by the Detroit Red Wings, played a lot of years there. He's been a perennial kind of 20-goal scorer. Still trying to find his footing though this year, signed as a free agent in Chicago. But Tyler Bertuzzi nonetheless gets added to the roster here, and I'll just go along and I'm gonna add another. You know what? I'm gonna add another forward here. I'm gonna add
13.
Mr.
What?
Mr. Cal Palmieri.
This team's actually not going to be that bad. I have a lot of interesting names that I would like to mention, and some of them that I've just discovered I completely forgot about.
Yeah, so we add another scoring threat here with Cal Palmieri, who's been a consistent scorer over his NHL career, either with the New Jersey Devils, and now he's been a consistent member of the Islanders. So Cal Palmieri is added to the top six here.
So next up, I have Ryan Donato of the Chicago Blackhawks, and I think he would be good on the third line. Well, he could play any position as a winger.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I would put him on the wing though. I would put him on the left wing.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I'm my forwards. I feel like I have a bit of a blank now. So let me move to the defenseman here. This will be our controversial selection of the video. Tony DeAngelo, who we have to assign a cap hit for because yes, he did stay in terms of the NHL. He stayed an unrestricted free agent, but he did sign in the KHL. No, I can't sign him for $1. I meant 1 million. Here you go, 1 million on a 1-year contract. So Tony D is going to be gunning the top pairing here for Team Italy. Obviously, he's a bit of a controversial figure. I think that's part of the reason why he didn't get any opportunities this year to continue his playing career. Was with Carolina last year, had kind of a middling year. His career highs, we spoke about this off air, were with the New York Rangers, where he had, I think, a 53-point season. Obviously a very has a lot of flair. Obviously, a very creative offensive defenseman, lacks in his defensive end, but has been seeing some success at the KHL level so far this year, playing with obviously Ivan Demidov, Habs prospect. And so, yeah, Tony D is going to be on the top pairing for Team Italy.
I have another guy as a forward, Robbie Fabry of the Anaheim Ducks.
Okay.
And he's going to be centering the third line.
Okay, that's where they assign them. Perfect. I think, what if we do, if you have another name, why don't we do doubles? So you pick Fabry, another, and then
okay. I'm going to go with Dante Fabro, defenseman of Columbus Blue Jackets.
So Fabry to Fabro.
Yeah, there's one letter off from each other.
So Fabro obviously was a waiver claim for Columbus this year. Has been a long-time Nashville Predator, drafted by them, and yeah, he's had kind of a resurgence this year, playing in their top four. I think he's been kind of producing. He's been producing points wise, and he's been having a nice little stint there.
Man, there's so many great players that just came out of nowhere. This is crazy.
I honestly feel like I'm missing somebody good right now.
You are.
But let me go to a safe pick. I'm going with let's see.
No, actually, I would not put him because
he wouldn't make it.
No, he wouldn't make it because I've discovered so many better players. Can I tell you one?
Okay, wait. Shoot. Okay, go for it.
Anthony Manta.
Anthony Manta.
Yeah, he has Italian heritage.
I just thought of somebody after you said Anthony Mantha. I'm gonna add him. So Anthony Mantha, we put him on the
Yeah, right
no.
there.
What if we put him? Wait, let's do this. Okay, this is what we're gonna have to do. I'm gonna put Foligno as the fourth line center. I have an
Yeah,
idea. This actually, you know what? We could put him here. I have
yeah.
a top line winger right now, and like the fact that I didn't think of this sooner is obviously the name could only be Italian. So Mangiapane,
Exactly. Good job.
Andrew Mangiapane, who's actually played for Team Canada at the IIHF, but we're assuming that he'll still have. Obviously, this is an assumption that he'll have eligibility for the Italian team, based on the fact that we could say he won't be selected for, probably won't get selected for Team Canada at the Olympics. So Mangiapane is going to be the top line left winger. This is actually this is a dynamic first line over here.
Can I say who the fourth line center is going to be, or at least he's going to be third line center?
Okay, go for it.
Shane Pinto.
This is
This team is actually shaping up to not be bad. We might actually have to make some adjustments.
But is there any Italian affiliation with Shane Pinto, or we're just going based off of his
We're
name
going
here?
based off Italian names, and I'm pretty sure because I'm looking at a list right now, and Italian hockey players, and they have a complete list right now, of retired players, players that are currently playing. Yeah,
Okay, I like that. Well, obviously, Shane Pinto, I would put him, yes, as the third line center here.
and I
It's
think
shaping up. This team is shaping up, Chris.
yeah, I think Marcus and Nick might actually like find themselves out of the starting lineup with all these extra names I've discovered. But
Okay, so look, we'll move them back later. I'm going to add a defenseman.
yeah,
And this is just based on what I've read, sources of information. But he doesn't have an Italian name, but Matt Benning has some Italian affiliation on his mother's side. So I would assume that he would be eligible for this team. So Matt Benning would be is a righty, so he would fill in the right side for the blue line team Italy. So the only player when a non Italian sounding or spelled out name would be for this team would be added now. Okay, so back to you.
I don't even think he makes it, to be honest, with all these defensemen that we have available to ourselves. The next defenseman I have Mario Ferraro of the San Jose Sharks.
Okay, so that kind of pushes him out.
No, he's gonna be pushed out 100%. Matt Benning's
Yeah.
probably gonna be
Okay.
yeah.
Well, Ferraro, we could put him on the left side here.
Yeah,
Are we missing a stud defenseman?
we are.
Who are we missing here? Let me try to get a name out. Well, for the forwards, you wanted to actually add a couple more guys in that we missed on.
Well, for defensemen, I can add two more if you want.
Okay.
John Marino.
It's a nice ad. Okay.
And I'm probably gonna wait on that guy for now. But give me a second here. I have a forward, actually. Yeah, we're gonna go with Jared Tenorti on defense.
Oh boy.
He's better than Matt Benning, I'll tell you that.
I mean, it works. I throw him here for now, Jared Tenorti.
Yeah, okay.
I think we're missing some talent on the left side.
We're missing a lot of talent as the forward group. Can I tell you three big names?
Okay, tell me one. I'll try to guess another.
Frank Vetrano.
Yeah, that's good. Frank Vetrano, obviously the sniper for the Anaheim Ducks.
That
so who
pushes
gets
out
pushed out? We take
Marcus
out Donato or Marcus Foligno.
Yeah, Marcus.
Okay.
Okay, well, yeah.
Who would get picked out of the Foligno brothers if push came to shove?
Nick, because of his leadership. Yeah, and you'd probably be captain too. But there's another. There's, oh my god, you're gonna freak out. This is crazy. We're yeah. Okay. Vincent Trocek. He's Italian.
Vincent Trocek, yes, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a name. I have a good name.
There's like
Okay,
two of
so
them.
let me add in Vincent Trocek first. So he would push out Robbie Fabry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he would you throw him as a second line center or
Yeah. Second line.
Yeah.
Fantilli. Yeah, like that.
Okay, I had another winger. He's actually tearing it up this year. Mr. Cole Perfetti. I know he's played with Team Canada at the juniors
Yeah.
and all, but I
But
don't,
he's not going to
you
make Team
know,
Canada,
exactly.
unfortunately.
Okay.
I have
So,
another Winnipeg
based
Jets.
on our rules, I think he makes it. So I would throw down, let's say he takes Kyle Palmieri's spot here, Mantha, and then Mantha would kind of push out Nick Foligno for now.
Yeah. I have another Italian player. Been fantastic on the wing with Shifley and Connor, and that is Gabriel Velarde.
Yeah, Gabe Velarde.
This is going to be a dangerous Italian team if this actually happens.
I think it's 1-0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So he would give Velarde. Let's say we move out Ryan Donato. Okay.
Yeah.
And I actually had a name too. He's not gonna. I don't think he cracks his team, so I'll put him either on one of these wings to fill out the spots. He's actually a local kid from the Montreal area, Mr. Joe Veleno.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say okay, Donato here. There's a lot of options at forward.
A lot.
Do you have a D?
Yeah, I do have another D, and that is going to be somebody who's been longing to come back to the NHL, and I think for at least this tournament in 2026, might be put in a limited role, and I would say that's going to be Mark Giordano.
Okay. Is he still playing?
He's not retired.
He's not officially retired, so Mark Giordano could make a little comeback here. We're gonna sign him out of respect. It'll be an $8 million cap hit. He is a former Norris Trophy winner.
I have another Italian defenseman.
Go for it.
Cody Ceci.
Yes. Okay. He would. Okay. Yeah. So Mark Giordano, I think, has
Could be in
enough
a
experience
limited
to be on.
role.
Yeah. But again, Cody Ceci is a righty as well. But for the sake of this, I know Mario Ferraro could play both sides, so we go like this. No. No.
I think Dante Fabro could play on the top
he
pairing.
he could do the left right thing also.
He's done it with Yossi in Nashville, and he's been doing it with Werenski in Columbus. So
Okay, so we get Cody Ceci in there. So 2 San Jose Sharks would actually make this
four,
and then the forwards on the top
yeah,
line.
total crazy.
This is like a San Jose team that became competitive.
Yeah,
All of a sudden.
Look, we have options like Max Pacioretty, but I think he's just way too injury prone, and he's represented the USA in the past, and I just don't think he fits this team, unfortunately. So I would not put him on Team Italy.
Yeah, the
He's
alley
always
camp lookalike.
Yeah, so there's that I'm not too crazy about. There's also Marco Scandella, who's always hurt. So I wouldn't, even though he's Italian, I wouldn't put him on the team. So that's another guy that would not make the team, even though he's
Okay, well look at it this way. Yeah, so Scandella, let's say those are your top 3 pairings. Does he make it over Giordano or Marino? I would, because Giordano they've both had, I think they had the same last year in the NHL, which was last year. I think Scandella did play last year, if I'm not mistaken, or the year before that. But obviously, I think based on experience, Giordano would
He's
take
in
over number
better.
one. I
He's
don't.
in better
He doesn't go
condition.
over John Marino or Cody Ceci, that's for sure.
Scandella has played last year, but this year he's out. So you know what? Take out Giordano and put Scandella. I think by the time it's 2026, Giordano will be like 45 years old. So I don't think, as much as I would like to include him, I don't think that really works, in my opinion. I think he wouldn't be able to keep up.
Okay, so old man Giordano is going to be out of the mix. We got Marco Scandella stepping in. What we could do now is, unless you wanted to add another defenseman, maybe
There's
add one more,
there's
and then we'll
one
go to the
name.
goalies.
There's okay. There's a couple of interesting options that are left, but I just don't see them making the team. You have Michael Pezzetta of the Montreal Canadiens, but
Oh, wow.
so you have that as an option. You have
Let me just add him in, just in
okay.
case. And I just fill out all of the spots here. So Mike Pizzetta,
You
the
have
fighter.
Victor Mete, who in my opinion is not even an AHL caliber defenseman, so he wouldn't make the team.
Not even AHL caliber.
Yeah, not even AHL. He's like overseas, in my opinion, at this point in time. It says that Vince Dunn is Italian.
That would be interesting. I think if a Vince Dunn came in, I think he would definitely upgrade this decor, and he would probably take away Tony D'Angelo's spot on PP1. Actually,
Well, if we put Anthony Mantha, should we put Dunn? And there's also Sonny Milano, but he's been very injury prone, and he's just a flashy guy. He's not going to be a staple on this Italy team, in my opinion. So,
you could put Vince Dunn in for sure.
okay.
Vince Dunn.
And then oh my God, how did we forget about this guy? Oh boy, Alex Ifiolo.
Iafallo. Yeah.
Iafallo, sorry. Oh my God. We're going to have to cut it down, though. We're going to have to cut this team down. There's too many guys on the roster.
Yeah. Well, look, we're basically, let's say for our decor, we'll leave it at that. So Vince Dunn, I don't know if he'll play with maybe John Marino. And you have the two San Jose. This is fair. Mario Ferraro and Cody Ceci as a pairing. They were, I think, at the beginning of the year, the top pairing in San Jose.
I would get rid of Giordano, Mete, and Scandella.
But with these, they don't make the team. Let's base it off of the top three pairings.
Okay, because like the two extra defensemen would be Matt Benning and Jared Tenorti. So like,
yeah, so these guys are filler here. Let's just say they have a chance to be
in the conversation, I
in the
guess.
conversation. But yeah, Vince Dunn would definitely be here, the number one defenseman. John Marino, guy who's good mobile 2AD. These guys play with each other. Dante Fabro and Tony D'Angelo rounds out the. Yeah. Okay, that's a very solid.
Yeah, that's not bad.
It's not a bad decor. Yeah. Okay, and Iafallo. Yeah. I think Iafallo makes the team.
Yeah, I think so too.
So who's giving away a spot here in the top four lines?
Okay.
Would you take Iafallo over Velarde? I think you would.
No way. Velarde has been proven this year to be very consistent on that top line with Connor and Scheifele. I would put Velarde.
Or you put him here and Mantas is out. I think Iafallo over Manta.
I would put Velarde on that second line, and I'll bring Perfetti down. Even though Perfetti has a higher ceiling, Velarde knows how to play with top caliber players. So that's what I would do.
A lot of Winnipeg Jets here. This would be a fun fourth line, but this is a good line. Like, look at this. You got Shane Pinto as your fourth line center, Cole Perfetti, who's obviously got a lot of offensive upside, and Alex Iafallo. So you got two Winnipeg Jets and a Senator.
Yeah, and I like this team a lot.
Yeah, honestly, I would do this because I'm not a fan of him. I would put Perfetti over Tyler Bertuzzi in the top six.
I would actually I'll put Vetrano in the top six.
You could put Vetrano here,
Yeah,
Perfetti down to the third, and Bertuzzi on the fourth.
yeah, I like that.
Okay,
And
let me
for
keep that
me,
list.
I don't have Pacioretty making the team. He would be too old, in my opinion, and he's too injury prone. Uh, Valeno way too inconsistent. Donato, um, he's hit or miss every year. You never know what you're gonna get from him. This year he's been playing pretty solid, but in other years he hasn't. Um, Nick Foligno, he's gonna be 40 years old by the time this happens, so or at least close to it.
Yeah,
So
38, 38, 39.
yeah, so I would have Anthony Manta over Nick Foligno on that fourth line just
This
because
is
of
this is more of a fifth line, but yeah, for the sake of this, let's put this in order here. I think Marcus Foligno would get the slight edge over Pacioretty.
because he's younger.
Yeah, and then Nick Foligno would kind of be. I think Nick Foligno over Valeno. Okay,
Despite
and then
the
I
age.
I would this would be my order. I put it all even regardless of the top four lines. For the bottom two lines that wouldn't make it in, this would be my order.
Yeah, so top line, Mangiapane, Celebrini, Toffoli. Then your second line is Vetrano, Trocheck, Velarde. That's really good. Perfetti, Fantilli, Palmieri. That's solid. Iafallo, Pinto, Bertuzzi to round out your four lines. Your
And the
extra forwards
decor.
would be Felino, Fabri, Mantha. On the cusp of making it, depends on their age and their consistency. And if there's any other injuries that happen to push them up into the lineup, Pacioretty, Felino, Donato, Pizzetta, Valeno. And then for defense, you have Dunn, Marino, Ferrero, CC, Fabro, D'Angelo as the top three pairing. And then you have Tenorti and Benning as extra, and Giordano, Mete, and Scandella would be on the cusp depending on age, injury, and their productivity. And in terms of goalies, I think this is going to be pretty simple.
Okay,
There-
so let's start with I'll start with member
so
of the Detroit Red Wings organization and who's been with Grand Rapids this year. Obviously, Sebastian Cossa.
he would definitely be
Cossa.
the starter by the time the 2026 Olympics roll in, and I
I
would
look at
say,
his age. I
yeah.
look at his value as a prospect, and I think there's some upside there.
So Focale would be the backup, Zachary
Yeah,
Focale.
I don't think they have him available with Puckpedia, but let's say Fukale would be the backup, and then we have for the number three goalie, or at least in the mix, Michael DiPietro,
Yeah.
who's with the Boston Bruins organization. Yeah, I don't think there's any NHL talent right now that we're missing at the goaltender spot. That's where I think this team is going to be would be a little bit thinner.
Yeah. If this was like 10 years ago, there would have been, Robert Luongo and Marty Turco
Yeah,
available.
yeah.
So, different story. And in terms of coaching staff, I think it's pretty simple.
Tortorella has to be.
Tortorella with Rick Tocchet as his assistant, and
Lou Lamorello, I think, would be the GM.
yeah, 100%. Who else would be part of that coaching staff or GM
Well,
staff?
we did
Ah,
speak about.
Jason Spezza would probably be part of the GM staff too.
Yeah, unless he gets some sort of role with I guess Team Canada, I think he would definitely be an option
Yeah, he's a
to bolster their management. He's been the assistant GM for for Pittsburgh, and you had a role with I think an advisor role with the Maple Leafs before. I think he'd be a
uh,
good candidate.
there's two other players that we didn't mention, which I think they would they would be above guys like Pizzetta, in my opinion, and over Pacioretty and Foligno just based off their age, and that's Michael Amadio of the Ottawa Senators and also Noel Achari. I think those two guys would be because of their age. in their health, I think they would have a better chance of making it over those two guys.
Okay, so Michael Amadio and
And
Chari.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In terms of forward depth, they have so many options, which is fantastic. In terms of defensemen, it's what you see is what you get, and in terms of goaltending, it's very thin.
Yeah, and it would be like this is a fantasy slash dream lineup that we're creating, and obviously with John Tortorella as the coach, that would definitely be a fascinating watch. But let's just have the hypothesis that an Italian team with NHLers is possible. Then it just makes the overall competitive level of the tournament that much higher, because then traditionally, let's be honest, a team like Italy, like how they're currently constructed against uh forget about Team Canada, USA, against teams like, let's say, Finland or Czechia, they wouldn't even stand a chance. And then if you add in some NHL talent, then it's like, okay, well, you know, things could shape up, and it's going to up the entire caliber of hockey of the tournament. So I think it would be exciting. Obviously the NHL would is on board with this because they want more exposure for their players. But if you get a guy like Macklin Celebrini inside of that tournament, who unfortunately wouldn't be able to play for Team Canada, it'll be really, really exciting, and all of the other guys that we mentioned.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the whole point of these tournaments is to have better NHL exposure, and I think that Gary Bettman has done a very bad job trying to spread the game out internationally, and just based off this new Italian roster where Italian heritage comes to effect, just to have an NHL caliber roster adds competitiveness. And a lot of these guys are great, but with the talent they have on Team Canada, and even the guys they left off of Team Canada, like guys like Zach Hyman, for example, Nick Suzuki, these guys unfortunately will never see the light of day on a Team Canada roster. The only guy I would say that probably has a chance is probably Macklin Celebrini. Everybody else, unfortunately, will never play for Team Canada unless it's a summer tournament. Once their team is eliminated from playoff contention, and is that
Yep.
the best to gain exposure? No, you want to represent a national team, and I think this is the best way for players to get more exposure, to get more experience. You want to not only represent a team in the NHL, but you want to represent a team nationally as well. And I think this is the best chance that these players have. And I think this is a fantastic roster with the players that we have available to us. Especially compared to what Italy has currently, this team would completely dominate them. This is a team that could compete. I'm not saying it's going to win the tournament, but they could easily steal at least a game or two in a tournament. So
Yeah, and I think, like, also, the downside of this is that there are obviously players that have gone the route of playing in Italy for numerous years that would be traditionally eligible for their team, and these kind of guys get exposure with this tournament. Guys that have worked for that spot under the traditional rules, and those would be the ones who haven't played in the NHL, but that would be missing out under this new format. And that's a downside of that. But I just think, in terms of Italy hosting the tournament, and that kind of competitive edge that you want as a nation hosting, we see it in other sports, like in soccer. The France national team takes a lot of players from all over the place that have that kind of affiliation to France in terms of their nationality, but didn't grow up in France, grew up in other countries, played for different sports football academies that weren't in France, and then you're bringing that kind of this logic here that has kind of been normalized in other sports, like in soccer. And I think the Italian fans just want a competitive team that could help them win in the Olympics. They're the host nation. There's a lot of pride that goes into this, and I think you add in all of this NHL talent, and then for the first time and I guess in a long time, or if not forever, the Italian national team would be able to do some damage in hockey. And I think that makes this very, very fascinating. And obviously, Chris and I had a lot of fun making this making this lineup, just based on its nature for sure. But this down the line could very much be a possibility, and the Italian Federation, as long as the NHL, like I said, are pushing to make this happen. So, Chris, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I think that the Italian Federation should definitely get this done, and come with some sort of agreement with the NHL or whoever's in charge of this, and we should see the expansion of more NHL players representing national teams. And I think this, just by looking at this roster, maybe for some it's a disgusting looking team, but for us, this is a competitive team. And when you have some,
Yeah,
elite. I wouldn't say there's any superstar talent apart from Celebrini, but when you have a lot of elite talent, you know, in this roster, I think that this is definitely something that should be heavily considered, and it's something that a lot of Italians would appreciate and take a lot of pride in watching to actually have a chance at competing. So, anyways, that's
yeah.
all I have to say about that.
All right. So this has been another episode of the Young Guts podcast, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please interact in the comments. Tell us who we missed out on, who has an Italian heritage that maybe we overlooked or didn't really know was had an Italian heritage, or other guys that we're missing. And what would your lineup be? Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and we'll be back before the new year for a next one. So, guys, thanks so much for watching the Young Guts podcast.
Thank you so much, guys. See you soon.